All right, Ken. So, do you feel undervalued, underappreciated, and like you shouldn't be here right now?
Yeah, but that's standard.
Okay, good. Hello and welcome to the Rich and Wizard Podcast, episode 139 for Thursday, the 24th of August, 2017. This is a show where two lifelong friends and their guests celebrate all things geek. I nailed the intro. Screw you, Kent. Hi, Mark. How you doing?
Just peachy.
just peachy because you're in Georgia. Is that why?
That's right.
It's about peach season down there, isn't it? Like, isn't this about the time when?
Actually, we're a little late, if anything.
Yeah.
Kind of early midsummer is kind of the peak season, but yeah, it's still good.
Have you ever had a peach picked fresh off the tree, Kent?
Yeah, I've got a peach tree in my backyard, actually.
That
of course,
doesn't-
now it's dead.
But once upon a time, it produced peaches in volume.
Oh man, that thing was bountiful when I first moved in here. We used to have fresh peaches like pretty much to last the entire year.
So you
Then we
the peach-
started doing oil changes right over the root system, and no more peaches.
Worse, he added 2 dogs.
Yeah, well, then when we stopped watering the lawn last year, it just it turns out that plants like water.
Why
So much for nailing that intro, Amos.
yeah, exactly. So this has been one hell of a week. We do have Mark Jelinik with us tonight, and I actually might have said his name right this time. If you are a listener of the Undaunted podcast, you would know that just a few days ago, that episode released where I talked to him about what's gone well and what's gone wrong with all things podcasting, especially with other people's podcasts. Actually, we really didn't talk about other people's podcasts. We kind of just asked each other questions about our own stuff for an hour and a half.
That's all that matters.
Maybe.
I mean, who else matters?
Nothing else matters. Let's just see how many Metallica references we can drop in this. I guess it doesn't really work when I call it out. Hey, Kent, how has your week been, man?
Oh man, busy as usual. So this upcoming weekend, we are having our annual Oktoberfest on the base.
Oh,
earlier than usual because Oktoberfest, as most people know, is usually in September. But we are,
which is early enough as it is.
yeah, I mean, and traditionally it begins in September and it ends in October. So, but ours is actually this weekend, so right at the end of August. The reason we're having it early, though, is because the German Air Force that is stationed here, they're about to pack up their stuff and leave. So they needed to get it out of the way. Yeah, so I'm actually volunteering for it this weekend. I'm going to be pouring beer at one of the booths. And so we had to go to training.
Wait, yeah. You had to go to training to pour beer.
Yeah,
were you teaching this class?
See, that's what I was thinking. I was like, okay, maybe they're going to teach me something cool, like a good like pouring technique, or how Germans like how much head they like on their beer or something like that. No, this was Air Force training. So we get there and they tell us all about legal drinking age and what to do, like how to identify someone who is intoxicated, and basically how to refer the problem people to security forces. Had nothing to do with pouring beer.
So it was more festival training than it was like server training.
Yeah. It was standard Air Force crap. Like check the legal box, move on.
Wow. Mark, do you ever have those events where you have to go to an event and then they give you some lame training that doesn't have anything to do with what you actually want to learn?
I haven't in a while, but then again, not being a military person, I don't have that reference point to say this is completely useless with what I'm trying to do. But I spent enough time at big corporate where we had some of that stuff, where it's kind of like, why are we here again? What in the world is this about?
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like I don't even know when our Oktoberfest thing is. Last year I missed out on it, and I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do.
Well, clearly it's in August. I mean, we all know this now.
The fair starts right now, so I'm sure there's some stuff there to do.
Because in German, actually, August means October, right? And therefore you started in August, and then we celebrate it here in October. So that's why you have to include September in the middle.
Right, because we have to wait for them to be done with it. We can't be
exactly.
Yeah, can't be taken away from their holiday. It didn't Mardi Gras.
I cannot comment on the accuracy of those statements.
You could. You just probably go back to work and get your ass kicked by some Germans you know.
Wait a minute, Kent. Isn't that what you told me to say?
He's reading straight from the script. I don't understand.
Kent says to say that. Oh, never mind.
Oh man. So I left work. I went to physical therapy for my knee. And then I went and picked up a prescription for my wife. And then I went to go pick my wife up from work because it was like 5 minutes to 4 and we get off work at 4 o'clock. Well, on my way into my wife's building, someone confronted me and said, "Hey, I've been looking for you." Okay, cool. What you need? Well, I had this issue and I'm gonna I needed to ask you about a question about a thing. But then I tried calling your office and you were gone. You were out doing your retired time, and I guess I'll just have to wait until Monday when I come back off vacation.
Retired time.
Retired time.
Okay.
So a few things I want to mention about this. A few things that really just tweaked me. One, and I know this really shouldn't come into it, but it does. Who the fuck is a staff sergeant to tell me that I'm on retired time?
Now, is this like road, like retired on active duty? Is she trying to say that
that's essentially what she was saying? Yes, that I was retired and I wasn't doing my job. I was ignoring my job because I'm close to retirement. So fuck it. Which I wasn't, and I wish I could. I really wish I had that mentality to be like, you know what? I don't have to do this job anymore. I'm leaving here in like a year. Like I'm just gonna do my thing and get the hell out. I wish I had that mentality, but as much as I hate my job, I refuse to not do it.
Right. Damn thing for one.
It's just it's pride and ownership. Like it's my job. It's what I do. It's attached to my name, so I'm gonna get it done. But the fact that I was actively engaged in official appointments, and then to be called out, like she said, she tried to call. Like she said, she kept calling. So I get back to my office the next morning and I asked my coworker, I'm like, so did somebody call for me yesterday? She's like, yeah, this one girl called. Like, did she call multiple times? She's like, no, she just called once. I'm like, did she ask you a question of any sort? She was like, no, she just asked for you. And then when I told you weren't here, she hung up. Well, apparently it's not that goddamn important because the other person in the office could have answered the question that you had.
Yeah. Or, this is when you send an email.
That's actually what I told her, because she was like, "Oh, about this number FA 918-170183." I'm like, why am I gonna remember that? What are you? Why? And here's the kicker: she works in my building.
Oh,
she actually works in my building, so like downstairs from my office.
Walking the 12 steps.
It's like she just needed to talk to me for whatever reason on my way in to pick up my wife from work. It was one of those things. Like I had this normal day, and then this one person just found the one thing that could really piss me off. And of course, I had just left physical therapy, so I was in no mood to argue at the time. Yeah, they just burned me up, man. And I know that stupid shit shouldn't bother me, but it did.
Well, yeah, and I was gonna say, the challenge of someone finding the one stupid thing that pisses you off. I don't think that's very difficult. That's an easily achievable challenge, I think.
Well, I mean, if it's only one thing, but some days there's a lot of things.
I think what Kent was saying there is I paid the girl to do that.
See,
mission accomplished.
Screw you, hippie.
So Kent actually realizes is you've been cutting off his part of the video for months, and he's just been slowly getting back at you.
Oh, yeah. Well,
yeah, expect more.
I mean, that's fair. I'll allow it. That works.
So from now on, whenever someone pisses you off, just curse my name.
Okay.
Damn you, Kent.
Yeah, damn it, Kent. Why does Nintendo and Amazon have to suck so fucking bad?
That's a really good question. I'm curious what they did to piss you off this week.
No clue.
No clue.
Mark, any idea?
They merged with Whole Foods and said they're going to sell Nintendo Switches in the produce department. I don't know.
No, that'd have been really sweet. The Super Nintendo Entertainment System Classic Edition came on sale Tuesday morning, was immediately sold out on every venue and every avenue, every vendor, everything else. I never got an email from Amazon. Nintendo didn't give anybody any warning, and they only made so many of them again so that only so many people could fucking get them. And oh, by the way, if you bought one and you're going to sell it, fuck you.
You know who bought yours?
Probably Kent.
Yeah.
I bought 2 of them. No, I wish.
Yeah, this is one of those things like the NES Classic. I was like, okay, that's cool. I didn't get one. You know what? That's not that big to me. This system has my favorite game ever on it. Like this is the one that it has got the full size controllers. It's got my favorite game. This is the one that I fucking want. And before I even knew they were released, everywhere was sold out. I've got my name on like 20 GameStop waiting lists in this area, man. It's insane. Kent, were you even looking forward to the SNES Classic? Was this something you were into?
Yes, dude. I was, but it wasn't something that I had obsessed over to the point that I was like eagerly anticipating the release date. It was one of those things. If I had seen it for sale, you bet your ass I would have bought it.
No, I had the alerts on Amazon and everything else. I've been waiting for it. Pissed me off. How about you, Mark? Are you much of a gamer? Is this something?
You know, I grew up with I'm older than you guys, right? So the Atari was more my thing. I kind of missed the Nintendo phase because that was during my college years and that sort of thing. But I came around in N64, but I missed the Super NES stuff. That wasn't really in my sweet spot of gaming at the time. I had a Mac and was doing more Mac and PC stuff than I was console.
Damn.
Yeah, I was very much an Atari kid. I think NES came out. Amos, what were we? 7th grade or something like that? 7th or 8th grade?
5th grade.
5th grade? I think
grade.
I got mine when I was in 7th grade. Though.
You might have. It came out in '85. Zelda, which was like the first really big game, like holy shit game that you had to have for it, came out in '86. So, which I mean, if Congress realized that Nintendo wasn't founded in '85, they wouldn't have had a little blunder this week. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. That was funny. But yeah, it's just one of those things that like I'm still interested. I'm curious what Nintendo's plan is and why they're only releasing so many of these instead of just putting them into the market. You know, like it seems like other people are making more money off selling these than Nintendo did. Why isn't Nintendo? Because Nintendo's been cash strapped for like 2 generations of console.
But they wouldn't make any money at $80 a pop anyways. They're making money on selling you the Switch, so they can't put all their resources into making those things.
Well, yeah, I think this is a buzz thing.
Exactly.
Obviously, we're talking about Nintendo right now.
Right, but I mean, you can build essentially the same thing, the same hardware and everything else. You can build it yourself if you have the facilities for like less than $30.
Yeah, but I think this gets people excited about Nintendo. We're talking about it now. They are going to release most, if not all, of these games on the Switch, like basically as like downloadable ports. And I think this is like all of the hype and excitement around this, I think, is going to drive some downloads.
We wouldn't be talking about it if it was in stock.
Correct.
That is true. I mean, the NES Classic wasn't really a major story until it wasn't on the shelf anymore.
Yep.
So I don't know. Still pisses me off. Still pisses me off. We had a major event this week.
A new mixer?
Yeah. No. That's not new.
Was it my training, my Oktoberfest beer training?
No. Y'all can just stop randomly throwing the mouse at the show notes. I'm talking about the solar eclipse, man. It's really fucking cool. Like, Kent, you seem disappointed by it, but I was all about it, and I'd really like to hear what Mark says about it.
I'm more curious as to why Kent was so disappointed.
So I was kind of excited about seeing the eclipse, and here in New Mexico, we were only going to get the partial eclipse, so just like I think we had 60% obscurity or something like that, and so it wasn't going to be like the full Monty or anything, but I was pretty excited about seeing it, and because it was overcast that day, I didn't really get to see much, but. This happened during my lunchtime because it was like a quarter to noon or something like that when the event occurred. After I got back from lunch, I found out that there is a solar observatory on base, and I could have gone over there to watch the whole thing. I didn't even know we had a solar observatory until after the event.
So, but is your disappointment really in the eclipse, or is it in the lack of your own knowledge?
This is like Adam Sandler in what's the Wedding Singer, when he's like that information would have been useful yesterday. I was pretty upset.
Here we had fog and overcast skies, and we had 56% coverage. So there like you didn't even know. It was like the morning just lasted longer. That's all it looked like here. But I was watching it. I was watching the live stream on my iPad, and I was keeping track of the little NASA diagram thing, seeing how much was where and all that kind of stuff. I thought I'd be really excited. I was going to see if I could FaceTime my daughters while I went for totality over them, but I ended up in some fucking stupid training meeting, of course, because why not?
On how to serve beer at the upcoming Oktoberfest.
It was actually about Air Force Doctrine and the way things are changing in the Air Force. I'm like, that'd have been great if I was coming in now. Like, I think I came in. I think, well, maybe you did too, but we either came in 20 years too late or 20 years too early. Because the Air Force that was when we came in was awesome. And the Air Force is going to be, they're actually fixing it. Like, they're fixing a lot of shit, but it's not going to be there for us. So we hit that 20 years. We were in the lull. We were in the nadir of fucking Air Force life during our 20 years, man. Like, we fucked up by not being born 20 years earlier.
Yeah, maybe. Well, but then we'd be 60, so.
I don't know. Mark, how's that feel?
Yeah, thank you. Getting that piece of mail this month from AARP was enough for me. I don't need to be reminded of how old I'm turning.
Congratulations, you won the lottery.
Yeah, it's like, wow. Guys, give me a month. Let it sink in before you start trying to pimp me out on old folk stuff. Insured drinks and Depends undergarments and stuff. Give me a little time.
Oh, geez. I will say that there's a lot of really good pictures that came out of that. A lot of people did some time lapse, and NASA did a few things that were really cool. I would like to have seen it. Maybe I'll see the next one because it's happening in like 7 years, and then we're getting to get one up here in 2044, I think. So maybe if I'm up here, we'll go check that out. But I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and in the link that I put in there, in that amazing spreadsheet that you build, that goes to some photos that I took. So you can share that with everybody. So I did some from the eclipse itself, and then I did a few towards the bottom that were composites of the event on each side. So it was an amazing event for us. My wife and I just got up and headed up into North Georgia. And we ended up having great weather. Being a meteorologist, I could kind of swag that on the fly, and found a nice place with about 20, 30 other people outside, set up my tripod, took some pictures, and enjoyed the event. But it was cool. It was definitely a neat thing.
You got some pretty good ones here. What kind of filter did you use on your camera? Well, first of all, being a photog myself, what kind of camera do you use?
You're gonna love this. I'm gonna duck my head here, and I'm gonna come back now.
For the audio listeners, he ducked his head and then he came back.
You see that?
Oh, you actually have like some eclipse glasses just cut in half and then taped over the end of your Canon power shot there.
Yep.
That's amazing.
So I thought about getting a filter for my DSLR, but I don't have a heavy zoom on my DSLR, and this Canon has 20 optical and like 80 with software. And so I had better zoom with that. And that way I knew if I screwed something up and blew out the lens, it was only, that.
Right.
So I left the DSLR at home, took that thing up there and literally took a $2 pair of glasses, cut one of the lenses out and taped it on it, and was able to take all those shots with that.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah. It worked out pretty well.
You got some really nice shots in here too. Oh, that's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. And there we go. Okay. Yeah, this is one of those things that I would like to have seen. Just because it's just an anomaly. I love anomalies. And the next one's coming down from the northeast and then going down through Texas and into Mexico, like covering Mexico City.
That's fake news.
7 years. So
no, that's not happening. That's fake news.
Oh yeah, that's just to keep everybody's expectations up.
It's not going to be a bigly event. It's totally fake.
Well, you know what else was fake? I finally solved my problem where if I hit mute button on my mixer, it would record my cough anyway. And I just found out tonight when I was testing it again that did not fix it. So I am still not able to mute out my coughs and stuff like that from this mixer. Although I can now stop you guys from hearing it. So that's a plus.
So Mixer Solution is really, that's a little preemptive.
It certainly was. That was a shot too soon.
Yeah.
Can't you look completely befuddled, like you're still trying to imagine?
It just baffles me that you've had this mixer for how long now, and you don't know how to work even the basic functions of it.
Hey, no, I'm past the basics.
Wow.
I'm like in the upper intermediate level.
No, but Kent's right. You may be able to do the intermediate, but you can't do the basics.
That describes like half the professional photographers I know. I mean, I don't like.
So Amos, look at your microphone there. Can you see your microphone?
That's
follow the trail of the cord coming out of the microphone to the mixer.
Yeah. It goes down there, over there.
Now put your hand right on that, and the next time you need to cough, just yank that cable out before you do it.
Yeah, that's probably not going to work.
I bet it will.
It just won't work after that.
But we won't hear you cough.
Hey, that's a solution, right?
Exactly.
Oh man, DC 26695 pegged it perfectly. If you use the mixer as a sound card, the inputs are usually pre-fader. I actually have buttons to decide whether or not they're pre-fader or post-fader, and the button it has zero effect on. And they're token buttons, like they're nothing actually. They're like the nut and button at the as a street corner. Like you hit it, just try to cross the street, and it don't care. It's like whatever.
Can you just slide your slider all the way down to mute yourself?
No, because it's pre-fader, and the slider is the fader.
Well, how about just like putting your hand over the microphone?
You can install like an inline switch.
Yes. Well, the whole point of it was I was going to get a inline amplifier with the switch built in, so I actually had a cough switch, and I wouldn't have to have my gain turned up so high on my mixer so that I could actually talk normally and not have a bunch of extra noise around me and everything else. Like that was the original intent. And then I was like, well, shit, if this works, and I tried it and it worked for you guys, well, for the people that I was talking to that day, but it just doesn't work for the overall recording. So then I still got to man, fuck electronics.
He found one of those in an old Radio Shack catalog, but he realized the last Radio Shack went out of business a couple of years ago and he wasn't able to pick it up.
Hey, we still have Blockbuster up here, so there's always hope.
Yeah, it's right next to that bookstore, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. Let's get out that credit card machine.
There's a little chunk going on. Hey, if you've got a credit card and you'd like to help us out a little bit, you can go on over to patreon.com/ritualmisery. And, you can kick over a buck a show, or maybe 5, maybe 10. If you want to kick $50 a show, man, that'd be great.
That'd be awesome, man. But you know what? You're going to get the same thing for just $1 a show. I suggest everyone do that because as we pointed out in today's pre-show, all of our good stuff is in the pre-show. And
yeah,
hear those, you need to be a patron.
Yeah, this is true. Or you just need to be here on time.
Or that.
Stop watching live late.
But yeah, if you want to enjoy all the benefits of being a patron, head over to patreon.com/ritualmisery.
Hey, I'm going to go ahead and jump the order a little bit here. DiamondClub.tv is switching over. It's switching hands. SgtMuffin is releasing the reins. It is going.
Wait. Hold on a second.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't just jump the order. You just went to the end of the episode. Are we done already?
No. I actually didn't go to the end of the episode. I'm grabbing that and bringing it back forward. I'm actually like pulling that.
But
up.
you didn't. You need to pull that out of the spreadsheet and move it up if you want to do that. Kent and I are going on strike until you fix this problem.
And that's the show.
And done. Okay, so DiamondClub.tv is actually switching over. It's switching over. SgtMuffin is releasing it. It's going over to T2. And do we just lose? I guess.
No, I went on strike. I told you I was going on strike.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if you want to know how that works. He's giving the reins over to T2, and the site itself is going to go through massive changes. We've got a team that is reorganizing DiamondClub.tv and rebuilding it. It's going to lose a lot of the functionality that we have right now, but that's just part of the way that it goes. But the way SgtMuffin has been able to make DiamondClub.tv the awesome site it is was through his Patreon. There's only one Patreon charge left. He shuts it down right after the charges go through on 1 September. So if you have a couple of dollars and you want to toss something into somebody who's put a lot into this community and help this show grow far more than me and Kent ever did, cruise on over to patreon.com/SgtMuffin, SgtMuffin. Throw a $5 donation per month in there. It'll only be a one-time thing anyway. Cough that up and let him feel the love and help him recoup some of the personal costs that he's put into the system over the last couple of years into making DiamondClub.tv how awesome it is right now.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, SgtMuffin is amazing.
So,
say about that.
You know what else is amazing?
The weather?
Our guest. He's got an amazing podcast. So, as I said earlier, Undaunted, you did the show with me, and in the description for that show, I said that you don't just share the weather, you share the experience of the weather. Because you're not going on there and saying, hey, this is how rain works. You're going on there and say, hey, this is how you get this is why you get the rain that you get when I get different rain.
Yeah, I've listened to his show and like he's not sitting here. Mark, I've listened to your show. I think it's so cool because
he said he's on strike. He doesn't count. You can talk to him in third person. He's on strike.
Right. All right. So Mark does this show.
Even though the conditions of his labor agreement were met minutes ago, he's still on strike. Like the union hasn't notified him that the conditions have been met.
You're talking Mark, about me like I'm dead or something. You know this. We liked Mark and his podcast.
It's a shame we won't get to hear it again. No, Mark, but your show could very easily have been just about the technical side of weather or the scientific side of weather, like because you are a meteorologist and you could definitely explain how weather works. And you do sometimes go into that a little bit, but that's not what your show is about. Your show is about how weather affects like just things that happen in your life, and it's a really interesting take, and it's an awesome show. It's really cool. I encourage everyone to check it out. What can you tell everyone what your show?
Tell us what your show's about now that me and Ken have both described it.
Yeah.
Now that you're done, and in conclusion, I'd like to say thank you for coming today. No, you guys both kind of hit on it. The focus of the podcast was never to be about just talking about the weather. We can go to tons of places, whether you're watching the Weather Channel or, listening to something or going to a website, you get the weather all the time, every day. We're kind of bombarded about the weather itself. So I really wanted to make the podcast more thinking about how the weather really impacts us. So, like the latest episode, it was like, what do weather dreams tell you about yourself? Or I might do things from time to time about how weather changed history. And, Amos and I talked about some of this on the Undaunted podcast. But really the goal is to think about weather not being the first order thing that we're talking about, but really weather being the mechanism for other life events or life influences, and try to share those aspects of it, because that gives me a chance to learn new things. And so I'm engaged as a podcaster because I'm having fun learning stuff about the field that I really enjoy, learning new things about how weather even impacts my life. Some of the things I know about when I'm talking about different industries, or as you mentioned, some of the scientific or technology parts of it, or even how it impacts the business world, because that's what I've, kind of done for the last 10 years or so. But every time I do one of these episodes, there's a lot of stuff that I didn't know about, and it gives me a chance to kind of dig into that and share it with the audience. So it's a lot of fun to be able to do that, because really, when you think about it, there's very little that we do on a daily basis that weather doesn't touch in some way. Whether Amos is out there, riding his new riding lawnmower that he's so happy about, or you're out there just, let your tree die, whichever it is. We've got these things going on around us all the time. And those are the final impacts that are happening in our lives all the time.
How lucky is it for you to live in Atlanta when it's got most of it I wouldn't enjoy, but it's got so many diverse weather patterns that go through there on just a regular basis. You'll go from lightning one night to just a completely clear sky with all the stars that you want to see if you don't live in Atlanta. Like you live in an area that just it's known for having very diverse weather.
It's true. And that's been, I think that was part of the influence that maybe got me interested in weather growing up. But one of the things I guess I don't get as much of that you get a lot of is the winter precip, which I'd like to get more of. And we get a little more heat than I would like to have. But no, we definitely get all 4 seasons, which is a nice thing. And it is one of those things that I like. I lived in Santiago, Chile for 10 years. And one of the things that would drive me crazy there is I'd go months and all it was just sunny and hot. It's like being out maybe in parts of New Mexico or whatnot. And that's fine if you like that sort of thing. And it was funny. I was thinking about if there's a type of day I really don't enjoy, it's a sunny day. I just find it boring. And so, the eclipse was really cool, but it was only cool when the sun went away. So, it's the same sort of thing here. I wanted this sunny day. I didn't want any clouds, but the only reason I wanted a sunny day was so I could watch the sun disappear.
To quote Adam Sandler, yeah, fuck the sun.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The nighttime is the right time. Anyway, I'm showing my age there again. Now, shit, I had another really good question. I completely forgot what it was. So I'm going to defer to Kent because I know he's got one loaded and ready to go, and he's ready to ask it, and he's going to do so right now.
So I was actually thinking about this at work today. One of my coworkers was talking about the different Air Force special ops specialties that there are. Like we have the pararescuemen, we have combat controllers, which are basically just like air traffic control guys that are also a badass. One specialty that a lot of people don't realize that we have is combat weather. And a lot of people, like, even when they hear that there's combat weather, they're like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? How is that why does that even matter? And a lot of people don't realize the impact that weather will have on a military operation. Like, it changes everything about flight patterns, about the way even artillery, like the way that it would fire. It changes everything. Troop movements, everything is affected by the weather. And it was just interesting that we had that conversation today at work, because I knew that you were coming on the show tonight, and it just, I don't know, it was all like reciprocal, I guess.
No, but it's and that's actually very true. When you think about the weather, National Weather Service as it is now, when it started, it was part of the military, right? And in many countries, it still is, because that is an important thing. And, occasionally I do these segments on whether, did weather change history? And one of the first ones I did was D-Day. And, whether anybody who's ever watched some of the movie, there's a movie, and I forget the name of it, that had Tom Selleck in it, that he plays Eisenhower in. It's kind of a interesting choice for it. I don't know. Somebody look that up. Amos, you got quick fingers. Look that up. But basically,
that's what she
one
said.
of the big aspects of the movie is trying to get an accurate weather forecast on which day to go. And so weather was a huge piece of the equation with D-Day, and trying to time what was some very bad weather that was coming through. And had they not gone when they did, so they held off on one of the storms, but had they not gone, they would have had to wait 2 more weeks. And, there's a lot of question about, whether the outcome would have been the same. Now, granted, lots of lives were lost, but it was a turning point in the war, no doubt. But another one I did as well was on the winds that saved Japan from invasions from Genghis Khan back in, his era, if you will, and on multiple occasions. So it allowed Japan to develop as a stable country that may not have happened otherwise. So it is neat. And for the military, it's huge. And a lot of the people, it's not as common as it used to be, but a lot of people, like even that taught me when I learned, one of the teachers was an ex-Air Force guy. I mean, that's where he got his, training and what he did for many years before he started teaching.
That movie was Ike, Countdown to D-Day, released in 2004.
It's a pretty good movie.
Now, I remember my question, of course, right as soon as Ken started talking. You teach at the Georgia Tech, right?
That is correct. Currently, I do. Yeah, that's correct.
I have to ask, what is, without identifying the student, because if they're listening to this show, they've already failed in life. What is the stupidest question you've ever received from a student when it comes to weather? Like just out and out, just completely like you couldn't answer because you couldn't believe that it was asked.
Yeah. Okay. So the one that comes to me off the top of my head is and it's not this. So this semester I'm teaching a course called Radar and Satellite Meteorology, and we're focused on those technologies. But the student is in the class this semester. But last semester he asked me the question about satellites, and he says, "Doesn't the sun have to be up for a satellite to work?" Now, there is a spectrum of the satellite that has to be that way, but much of what we do, the whole point of having a satellite and all these different ways it can see things like infrared is that the sun doesn't need to be out. And even today, when he was having me look at some infrared imagery on the screen and wanted me to pull it up, I still laugh a little bit to myself. He's a great guy, but it was just one of those moments where, like, I don't know, you go through these things all the time where you go, are you seriously asking me that question? Mm-hmm. But it happens less in class than it does just, general people asking me stuff. And I try to just nod a little bit and let people ask stuff. And it was the same with watching the eclipse. I got all sorts of just, people find you out you're a meteorologist and they start asking you all sorts of questions. So it happens wherever I go.
No, okay, Kent, what's the stupidest question you ever asked in school?
The stupidest question I ever asked in school?
You notice he's not offering up his question.
No, I already know mine. That's why I have to tell Kent. That way he can think about it for a second. Then we can defer to me and I can answer it while he thinks about it, and then he can answer. Keep up, Mark.
Ahead. The stupidest question that you've ever asked.
I asked, so you have a number, and then you have a decimal, and then you have another number. Is there another decimal after that to further break down that number? So would 12.2.2 be an actual mathematical number? At the time, I did not understand that 12.22 was the same as my theoretical mind said 12.2.2 would be. I also asked if there were capital numbers and lowercase numbers on the same day. Like this is all on the same day, and this is in 6th grade. Like it wasn't like I was in 3rd grade. I
was about to ask, was this second?
This is 6th grade at Lake Hughes Elementary School.
Oh boy. Yeah, so I can't think of the dumbest question I ever asked, but I do have the dumbest answer I've ever given. So this was 3rd grade, I believe, 2nd or 3rd grade. Every week we would get a new vocabulary list, and then by the end of the week we were supposed to, have the spelling and the definitions memorized for a test. Well, on the Monday when we received the list, we would take turns reading the word, like pronouncing the word, and then reading the definition. The word that I got on that particular day was toboggan. However, I had never in my life heard the word toboggan. I did, on the other hand, know the word toboggan that I think my grandma made up to describe a knit hat that you would wear in the winter. So that's what I said, like loudly and proudly. Oh, and by the way, the definition wasn't on there. You were supposed to either guess or just say what the word meant. So I was like, I saw the word and I was like, oh, I know exactly what this is. So I said, it's a toboggan. It's a knit hat that you wear in the winter. Instant eruption of laughter from the other 17 or 18 kids in the class. And I had to have it explained to me that there's no such thing. And it's a toboggan, which is a sled. And that was awful. That was a bad day.
The most remarkable thing about that is the fact that you only had 16 or 17 other students in your class. You clearly were not in California with my 35 to 40 other students in my class.
Yeah. Well, this was
he complains all the time, doesn't he?
He does.
But I get shit done. So, Mark, what is the stupidest question you've ever asked?
I'm not going to give you a stupid question, but I'll give you one of those things that I did that kind of scarred me. So, second grade, we got this, map of, I don't know that it was the globe, but it was at least had the Atlantic Ocean in it. And we were supposed to color it, right? With, land and water and all this stuff. And I took like a dark brown crayon because I didn't have any other brown colors at the time. And that's what I colored the ocean with.
You must have been too much time in the Gulf.
The teacher didn't like that, but no, where I grew up, the only beach I went to was off the coast of North Carolina, and all I remembered was silty, sandy, brown water.
Yeah.
And then the teacher was like, it's supposed to be blue. And I'm like, not the ocean I've seen.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Like the New Jersey coastline.
Yeah. I mean,
that's not
like,
silt. That's just shit.
Not everybody hangs out in the Caribbean or gets an airplane view of the ocean.
Right.
Just because you got it on some globe somewhere. I've seen it and it ain't blue.
Shit brown.
It's like Ken's 77 Granada.
7 different shades of shit brown.
Oh my gosh. Jesus. All right, so now I got to click a thing.
Oh, he's clicking.
NASA
Jesus.
confirms Earth will experience 15 days of darkness in November 2017. I'm not sure I quite believe this. Mark, can you sell this to me?
So first off, look at the post date. So this was what, 2, 3, 4 days ago, right before the weekend, right?
Yep.
Last Friday.
6 days ago. Yep.
Now, I have no idea what women's energy is. I don't know what this website is. And if you look at the trending story, this streak, they're trying to get ads. So this apparently actually came out in 2015, but they go and they reference this 1,000-page report about how Jupiter and Venus are going to be near each other. And they seriously try to convince you that in November, on the 15th of November, now that we know the exact time, I feel like it's some cult. He's going to come and take us all on the 15th of November when the dark sky dust cometh. And so
you might have said that too well. You might have been practicing that a little too much.
you got to wonder, does someone really read this website and think that crap's real? And the only reason I say that is I've had to watch all these people that I know, including somebody that I know that writes weather stuff for Forbes magazine, who did it's a hoax article piece today because someone legitimately asked him that question again. And I'm thinking to myself, you go to some random website and it says that. You don't go to the NASA website maybe and check it?
Yes.
I mean, and I know you can get into all the fake news you want, but did Fox News say it? Or CNN, whichever one you're watching, whichever of the two you're watching, did either of them mention the idea that for 15 days in a month, Thanksgiving week of all things, that magically the sun's going to be gone?
My favorite thing about this article, though, is that Venus will move to the southwest of Jupiter.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. That's a detail, but no, my favorite thing is the part where it says that the darkness will begin at 3 a.m., which I think is just phenomenal because where I'm from, it starts at 8:30, 9 o'clock p.m.
Right. If you're a Kiwi, that might be weird.
But now, Amos, go down to the end of the article. Go to the very end.
Okay.
And see what it says. See what it says in the very last sentence. This is why you should be concerned.
This event would be similar to what Alaskans experience in the winter.
So it's all your damn fault. The whole thing, this whole hoax is your fault.
Damn it, Alaska.
Have I told you guys recently how that works here? So it gets darker. There's only like 5 hours of sunlight. There's only 4 hours of sunlight. There's only 3 hours of sunlight. And suddenly the next day there's like 10 hours of sunlight. And I don't know why it is, but like it's suddenly at 6 o'clock in the morning, you get this like reflection off the ozone layer or something to where everything's pretty bright. And then about 9 o'clock in the morning, it dims down again. And by 10 o'clock, it's bright again. It's the weirdest shit that no one ever explained to me and ever has said to me ever. But we don't get 15 days of just total darkness. Not here. Maybe
well,
up,
north
maybe
of
up
you
in
does
like,
though.
Yeah, maybe up in like Nome. They do probably up there, but hell,
Yeah, well,
at that time of year, we'd be experiencing that shit anyway. So
yeah, I was gonna say either way, I'm sure it's caused by Jupiter and Venus making the sun explode.
oh yeah, because Mars is southwest of Venus or whatever. Because
It sent forth the hydrogen atom, and it did explode into the sun and turn it blue.
holy crap, that's remarkable.
Oh man, yeah, so good. But yeah, Mark, you asked if there's people that believe this kind of crap. We have a contracted cleaning service that comes to our building a couple times a week, and I work in a building where any visitors to the building have to be escorted, and so we have to escort these cleaning ladies, and one of them is I would not be surprised if next week I hear her talking about this. Because
maybe you could mention it to her.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. I'm gonna be like, oh my god, did you hear what's gonna happen in November with the sun?
Oh my god, yeah, and have this website written down on a little note so you can just pass it to her instead of actually having to tell her to go look for it. Just pass it to her.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
And say you heard it on Fox News, and she'll definitely believe it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's a foolproof plan. Like,
hey, speaking of the news, I saw a little thing this week, and actually I think I saw it earlier today. I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to go ahead and share this with you. This is Simon McCoy from the BBC reading, telling a story about some dogs, and he nails the intro, nails the exit, and the enthusiasm of the story. It just, you can't escape the excitement of this story. So I'm going to go ahead and play this for you now. Hopefully the audio comes through.
You're watching BBC News. Just bear in mind it is August. This does not look like a walk in the park. Dog owners and their pets in California have hit the waves in the second annual World Dog Surfing Championships. Here are the pictures.
This is beautiful.
There's also style, there's confidence, there's the size of the wave. Because some events have really big waves, some have very small waves. There's a lot of style and techniques. It's really interesting.
Okay, first of all, I'm just going to say this actually happens in Hawaii. Like, you actually see people with their dogs surfing and bodyboarding and shit like that. But I'm going to continue.
The competitor's main challenge is to stay afloat on the board. This is in Pacifica near San Francisco. But there are also prizes for the best dressed and tandem surfing dogs. The winner, of course, being crowned top dog. That's a shame. We've run out of pictures.
That's it.
He was thrilled when he saw that come up on the prompter.
My favorite thing is the sigh that he does in the middle of it.
Right in the middle of it. Yeah, classic.
Is that real good? It's not like a huff. It's a like a guttural sigh.
And all things are excused because it's August. You know, it's like,
yeah, he said, keep in mind it's August.
it is August. Nothing happens in August. Except for dog surfing in Pacifica.
Yeah, I saw that on the old Twitter and I had to share it. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, that was just I don't know. Maybe you don't like it, maybe you don't care. I thought it was hilarious.
It was
so
funny.
Now, this is something Mark sent us. Captain Kirk deals with a strange alien culture.
Yep.
That.
Do you want to set this one up, Mark?
I don't know that it needs. Oh, actually, I used this in class this week. So I was introducing the students. The first question I asked them, I was kind of baselining what they know. And so I put on the board, Star Wars, Star Trek, who cares, or shut up, old man. Those were their 4 choices. And so they all went Star Wars and not Star Trek. So they didn't necessarily appreciate this as much. But, one of the first artificial satellite was Sputnik, right? Mm. And so I was looking for a creative way to share Sputnik with them. And this is the video I came across.
This is some Star Trek. Like
it is
original series.
Yep.
Most curious development on scanner 5-7.
Let's all take a look at it, Mr. Spock.
Green on, Captain.
And there is Sputnik.
Captain?
That's
What in the name of?
Okay, so this show hurts my brain every time I watch it. Like, I know there's some Trekkies out there that just absolutely love Star Trek. Something about this show, even when I was little, it just didn't seem right. Something was always wrong. And I think I finally figured out what it was. I think I finally figured out what it was that was bothering me so bad the entire time. The one thing that this show had that Greatest American Hero didn't have, that Wonder Woman didn't have, and all these other, the $6 million man did not have, this one thing that keeps this show just slightly more irritating and just past the point of me being able to enjoy the corny campiness of it. Are you ready? Listen to the background sounds.
What in the name of?
Yeah, I always found it very soothing. I like that.
Who's listening to that going, "Oh, I know what that little sound means"?
Yeah, anyone who's watched Star Trek and given a shit.
Oh my god, it's annoying, and I think that's why I don't like the series. They don't do that shit on the movie, do they? If they do, I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch just so I can hate those now.
Watch the first Star Trek movie again. You'll be amazed that how well you can tolerate the series after you watch that movie.
That movie does not exist to me. Star Trek: The Motion Picture is dead to me.
Wow.
V'ger,
yeah.
I am Poppy.
Oh, gee. Oh my god.
I had to do it. I am Poppy.
No.
Wow. So you found this clip to inject Sputnik into your class, huh?
Correct.
Wow. That's
so you gotta play like at least 10 more seconds of that video.
Okay.
You gotta play more than 10 seconds.
Yeah, like
Have
30
you seen
seconds.
this before, Kent?
Yeah,
Am I seeing things? Not unless I am too. This is Captain James T. Kirk, commanding the USS Enterprise. Please identify yourself.
Is this the video that inspired Christopher Walken's version of what the hell the video that was? Oh my god. So okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Please kill the audio. You can leave the video playing if you want, but kill the audio. Oh my god.
So for the audio listeners, this is I don't even like I can't describe this. Describe what I'm seeing on the screen.
I think it's Mr. Chekhov's folk hero. This is a Russian pop star from like the 50s or something.
Clearly lip syncing.
Yeah,
well,
it's
sure.
clearly lip synced. Yeah.
Sure. But this is like, I'm pretty sure this is the actual guy that sang this song. Yeah, like this guy got famous because of the song.
He did, and he did a remake of it live. And that's out on YouTube somewhere as well.
Oh dear.
To prove that he had done it. And it gets even better when he goes into his laugh at the end and goes, ho, 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 ho. And he goes on and on and on and on. But the faces from the Star Trek crew are just classic throughout.
That's
It's
and oddly, I like the show just a little bit more now.
And in case anyone wants to see it, Jotman posted a 10-hour version of this in the chat.
That's that hurts. That hurts my brain. My brain is broken. Dear goodness. Okay, so finally we got one final thing to cover here that Mark threw in the old show notes. So apparently it's fairly important. What the hell is this, Mark?
That's a good question. I saw this in my feed today. How in the world does anything take 5 years to develop in this day and age? So get this tweet. After 5 years of waiting, you now have a place you can go and debate online. Now look at how
AKA the internet.
Look at how many followers this company has.
The thing that struck me about this was posted, well, not only to Twitter, but I think it's referring to a Reddit post. So a Reddit post posting about a place to go debate on the internet. Is that like a self-flicking ice cream cone? I mean that's what Reddit is, right? Like, oh, I want to pick a fight today. Let's go to Reddit.
Reddit's also where my 12-year-old son goes to find porn.
But seriously, so a company for 5 years spending millions of venture capital dollars has $734 followers on Twitter, and they've created a place for you to go and debate things on the internet.
That's
I mean,
you know how many followers I'd have with that kind of money?
I mean, look at that logo. That's a sharp looking logo. Doesn't it say debate on the internet? That's what I see.
No.
Everything about this is so underwhelming. I have nothing.
I see sideways
like when Amos tries to talk about the podcast. It's just so underwhelming.
Undersell and overdeliver. I'm still working on the overdeliver part.
Oh my gosh.
That's all very I don't, because I see this logo, and the logo is like it's three black
someone
lines
backing up their car. I mean, come on.
It's a sideways W with two different colors and some wavy lines and stuff. It's not a good logo.
Right. It's like someone took the Whataburger.
Wait. You know what this is? You know what this is?
Put some curves in it and turned it sideways.
You know what this is? Okay, so take a look at the logo and then take a look at the first picture, the first tweet. You know what this is? That's the KKK symbol.
Oh.
That's three Ks just missing the long line.
You had to work that into this, didn't you?
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me you don't see three Ks right there.
No, I'm with Mark. I see the Whataburger logo sideways here.
Yeah, but you're never going to go the conflicting route. I see the KKK.
At Whataburger.
Exactly. So the Whataburger's not really a W.
No, it's actually the K fell down.
Whataburger's the secret actual owners.
It's
finally
the
revealed. the Whataburger.
I hate Whataburger. I know that's not a popular opinion with a lot of people. I hate Whataburger. I think the place is disgusting. The only thing that's good there is the pitas, and I'm not even sure I'm not sure I'm saying that right.
You mean Peters?
I mean that could be what you go there for. So
I really think about when I think about Whataburger is the one in Wichita Falls that we would walk to outside of Shepherd Air Force Base had bullet holes all over it.
I still think asking that lady if I could get a large fry, and she was like, "So you want like a whole thing of fries?" And I said, "No, I just want one large fry. Can I just get one large fries?" Yeah, just one large French fry. And she was like, "I can't do that."
Oh man, we weren't even drunk or stoned when we did that.
No, we were stupid.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I'm saying stupid like in past tense because we're still stupid.
Yeah, but we were young and stupid.
That's the big difference. It's the young part of that. Yeah.
That's
now we're just old and stupid. Oh man.
Fair enough. What else we got going on this week?
Well, I tell you what. Hold on. You'd mentioned Peter earlier. I'm actually interested in what's going on with your balls.
My balls?
Challenge accepted. Doing hood things in these streets.
Yo, that's crazy.
This looks like a job for Amos's balls on the Ritual Misery podcast.
So I've got a little thing in here that says Ben Carson. Is this a challenge from one of you guys? Because I don't know many other people that could have typed it in there.
Yeah, I was actually wondering myself where this might have come from. So
if it wasn't me and it wasn't Kent, it must have been Jotmon, right?
Yeah, sure. Logical deduction.
Yeah.
So Mark, are we talking about Dr. Ben Carson?
Sure. Don't you think he would make a very exciting guest for your show?
This is
you could talk to him about the belt buckle and how it turned him away from a life of crime and won to being an exciting neurosurgeon who ran for political office and ultimately became the secretary of HUD.
And teach us how to invoke vocal inflection in our podcast. That would be pretty exciting, Amos.
Can I ask him about the pyramids?
You can do that.
You bet your ass. If he comes on our show, we are definitely asking.
How does that? How does that?
But seriously, I was thinking, all this, punking that's been going on with the different political figures. I have to imagine of all the people you could get to Ben Carson.
He's just happy to talk to anybody.
Exactly.
Yeah, nobody's paying Dr. Carson any mind these days. That's a really good
When was
point.
the last time you heard his name? No, you're not hearing it at all. Just give him, hit him up on Twitter. Hey, we're doing a very important podcast. Maybe have Jury send it for you,
Ooh, Jury would be jealous. Jealous Jury.
So I either had a choice of typing in Ben Carson or Molly Wood. So I went with Ben Carson.
I think one of us would have anyway. The Ben Carson choice.
Molly Wood was a self-inflicted Amos's balls torture. I'm not sure I said that right. But yeah, that's when we're still trying.
And it is Jotman just said the other choice is Gary Johnson, the Libertarian candidate. I think both of them would be well worth the price of admission for an episode.
All right, so Gary Johnson would have to wait until I retire. Just saying.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Because Kent would be the only sober one on that show.
I think Dr. Carson would be great. Yeah, absolutely. Amos, you gotta hit him up.
You said anybody.
Yep.
Okay. Fine.
Challenge
Fine.
accepted.
I'm adding him to my list. I'm not sure how that would go.
Canal that he has done.
Do what?
Right after that root canal. It's root canal. Contact Ben Carson for the show.
I'd rather go to DC and talk to Ben Carson in person than have a root canal, because apparently that sucks. All my dentist visits are awesome. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. Maybe you can be jealous. Maybe you're not going to be. But either way, we're gonna do this now. Why I Don't Watch TED Talks by Scott Gould.
Yeah, Mark, you chose the TED Talk this week, and is it because he speaks the truth that he?
No. That's not it. That's not it.
No.
Is it because you don't watch TED Talks?
No. That's not it. That's not it.
Is it because he wants to inspire you to do something?
No, not it at all.
Oh man!
It was simply because I got the show notes on Wednesday and there wasn't any talk in there.
Could you describe?
I mean that's legit. That is legit. But before we get into that, I just want to say what he put in there was why I don't listen to TED Talks and a link to YouTube. It was not labeled. It was not properly described or anything. It just said why I don't listen to TED Talks. So I thought I was going to be watching a YouTube video why Mark did not watch, like some prophetic, like because they give all their money to like NAMBLA or something, like I thought it was going to be something crazy, and it would end up being this video. So I just going in, like as soon as I went in and it did the little TED music, I was like, oh, what, suddenly disappointed. But explain.
Yeah, why did you? The sad thing was I think we were all disappointed. So I did a search. Okay, so the reality is this guy, he does hit a couple valid points, which is there is this danger with watching TED Talks that you get in this mode of, God, I'm not good enough. Look at all these people that do great things, and if I could just do those great things all the time. So I did a search. I did a Google search that say, why shouldn't I watch TED Talks or something along those lines? And all the results other than this one were why you should watch TED Talks or the 20 TED Talks to watch. None of them were why you shouldn't. So the only reason we watched this is because that was the one search result that came back that was consistent with what I searched.
I mean, that makes sense. I'm still.
And it is, I think we'd all agree it's quite possibly the worst TED Talk that any of us have ever seen.
It's not good.
It's really not, because the guy talks about why you shouldn't watch TED Talks, or why he stopped watching TED Talks, and then goes on to talk about all of the great TED Talks that inspired him to do great things,
and showing pictures of them in behind him while he's going. It was like this. It was supposed to be this ironic advertisement, and it really just came down to this tortured metaphor of non-existence in life. Like it was really just bad.
He went to the audience twice to try to get people to raise hands and respond, and nobody responded at all.
And here's one of the things that really got me. Go ahead, Kent.
The one time that there was some response from the audience, he said, "Thank you for your honesty. The rest of you are liars."
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
really endearing himself to the crowd.
Right.
Correct.
And this is just my OCD. When you're on a TED stage, they have markers on the stage. Sometimes it's a big circular red carpet. Sometimes it's just the little painter's tape blue T thing. But there's always a marker on the stage. And typically, if you have a speaker that has the big red carpet, they stay on the carpet.
Yeah, no.
This guy trounced all over that carpet while crossing back and forth, front and back. He didn't stay. The people that recorded this, the videographers that recorded this TED Talk, I know why the video was bad, because they were pissed off. They were like, "Screw this dude. He's not staying in focus. He's not staying in frame." Okay. Do you even practice, bro? Do you even TED, bro?
So the TED Talk didn't inspire us this week, but I did find something this week that inspired me. I know it's been a little while, but we had our agents out there in the field, and they uncovered something of Mark's. And I thought it was pretty inspirational. So Mark is a meteorologist, and he is a professor that teaches people. What a lot of people don't realize, though, is that he has also hosted science fairs, which makes sense for a scientist, meteorologist to do.
Well, he wants to inspire young minds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I actually found a transcript of a science fair because he was emceeing this science fair, and I found the transcript, and I shot you the email of it, Amos.
Okay, let me get this open here.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and read that.
Okay. Just the part in blue.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you all for participating in the Atlanta Middle School Science Fair. Everyone worked very absolutely on their projects, and it shows. We will now announce the first, second, and underwhelming place winners. Poppy won first place for her miniature erupting eclipse, which was a model of the largest volcano in history, Mount Trollololololo. Tom Selleck got second place for his super secret miniature solar system, in which all the planets fell in circles. And Jotman was given a third place ribbon for including an ant farm using sand and 60 tiny shit brown ants. That's it for the young annual science fair. We'll see you next eclipse for another round of stupid science experiments. Now, I read that and I can see your inspiration in there, but the part that really surprises me is the fact that Jotman and Tom Selleck went to school together and in Atlanta. That's really crazy.
With Poppy.
You didn't know that?
With Poppy.
Yeah, with Poppy.
I mean, maybe Tom Selleck went back to school. Maybe he was like a guest contestant in the science fair. Maybe that was it.
I think it's Tom Selleck, the Tom Selleck that we know, Magnum PI's like nephew, like his great nephew or grand nephew.
Oh yeah. Oh, Jotman is saying in the chat room that he dated Poppy, so that might explain why Poppy's so weird.
Oh God. Oh man, that might be valid. Mark, would you care to tell us about that? Is it a
Well, it is Tom Selleck with a K, not a C. It's the other Tom Selleck, and he's a cousin of Poppy's, and that's why. I mean, the children today, they inspire me tremendously, and I just like to give back. And the science fair is a wonderful opportunity to reward the efforts of Poppy, amongst others like Jotman and Tom himself.
I mean, it's good that you're doing that. It's good that you're getting out there in the community and sharing science with the youngsters during the stupid science experiments.
Yeah, well, it is just cut out cardboard. What do they really know, anyways?
Mark, speaking of sharing with the community, if people in our community want to find more about you and learn what you have to offer, where might they find you on the internet?
That's a good question. It's a fair question, and I guess there's a couple ways they can do it. If they want to hook up with me, they can find Mark_Jelinik, and that's JELINEK, or of course the @ symbol before that, on either Twitter or Instagram. And as Amos knows, I just love Instagram. It's an excellent platform to promote a podcast. I mean, it's so geared towards that. Instagram's a perfect platform for promoting podcasts. Or if they want to find out more about the podcast, What Is It About the Weather, they can just go to whatisitabouttheweather.com. Again, there's a Twitter account, but yeah, go ahead, Amos.
Still the best name in podcasting.
What is it about the weather?
Yeah. That's great.
And I put the links for the solar eclipse album, but also one I do on some weather photos I do. And I'm assuming that Amos, in his anal retentive, ever-present nature, will make sure that those either go in the show notes for the episode or the DTNS show notes. One of the two or both.
I try not to piss off the Podfather, so I think I'll just keep him to our show notes.
He won't notice. He won't notice. Just slip them in there.
He probably won't. I had 3 misspellings the other day he didn't notice until I had to fix afterwards.
But he probably wouldn't actually mind having that photo gallery in his show notes.
Maybe not. How about you, Kent? Where can people find you at?
At RM_Del Noche on Twitter. I'm Del Noche everywhere else. If you're a beer person, check me out on Untapped. What about you, Amos?
At Ethan Kane on the Twitter. I like saying Twitter because it's two T's. It's two T's. You got to pronounce them. It's Twitter.
Twitter.
That went south sideways. And you can always find the show at Ritual Misery on the same Twitter. You can go to our subreddit. All of our episodes are posted on our subreddit. If you want to go there and make a comment about how awesome Mark was or how shitty the regular host of this show is, Kent, and you can cruise on over there and make all the comments you want on there. And that's at ritualmisery.reddit.com. And of course, all the links that we talked about are going to be in the show notes. You can cruise on over to ritualmisery.com, find all that. And I want to give a special thanks to Kevin McLeod, who we are still working to get on the podcast, where we ran into a couple of scheduling snags with that. And he's provided a lot of music for the show, and we really appreciate that. So I should probably hit this little button right here that says RMP out, because that's where we're going. Hey, call and leave us a voicemail, 567-698-7672. That's 567-698-7672. We appreciate you. Have a good week. And I'm going to keep talking until the music cuts in, which should be right about now.
Yeah.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.